Okay, so first thing you're going to need to do is you need to do a bit of Google image searching. You're basically trying to put together a folder of just images that you can use. Obviously, you'll need something like this. Let me just open her up. Now this is, I'm going to use this as the sort of main space that we're going to transfer. Yeah, you'll notice the way I've got my window set up, space set up. You want to have, if you can always change this, by the way. When you click on window, you notice that I've got the color palette up, layers palette up, properties, options, tools, and the workspace is just essentials default. So you can sort of see that that's, you got your tools along this side, and you have your color palette up here, properties up here, which is good because depending on what tool you have, it will show the properties for it. Adjustments, you don't really need to see that. Layers, this is very important to have up. It's got a few tabs there, channels, paths, etc. You don't need those, you just need layers. You notice you got background, that's the first layer, little eye there, which shows visibility. Turn the visibility on and off when it's not locked. Like that. Yeah, so click on the little padlock or unlock the layer, and that's just layer 0, the very base layer, which is what you really are kind of after for this. Now there's a few main tools that we're going to be doing here, and it's going to be quite a bit to take on, so try and bear with me as we go through this. First of all of this down here, they're all tools. You're not going to need all of them for this, but you will need some of them. And the first, absolutely the first tool we're going to use, because I need to show this and it's an essential tool, it takes a while to get your head around it, is the pen tool. Notice when you hover over your mouse button over it, gives you both the, the name of what the tool is, and notice the pen tool in brackets P is the shortcut for it. So, and if you hold your left mouse button down on it, there's tools underneath it as well, but at the moment we just need the pen tool. Now let me show you what the pen tool's for. Now I want to cut bits and pieces out of this. We're essentially creating a collage in Photoshop here. So where I click, I'm going to put what's called anchor points. So just to give you a demonstration, there's an anchor point. I just click once, click again, and it forms a line between the anchor points. At any point, if you need to go backwards, Control Z, and it undoes whatever you do. And Photoshop's quite a unique program in the sense that it can go backwards almost indefinitely. It just depends on how much memory you've got. Great little program. So yeah, I've done my first anchor point. I'll do another anchor point. No, don't like that, not quite right. Now if I wanted to zoom in a bit, I click on the zoom tool, which is Z, the shortcut, little magnifying glass. You notice it's got a minus on it, that would be zooming out. But up the top here, you've got the option to click positive, which zooms in. So if I wanted to get right in there, that's cool. Now I can really see where I'm going with things. You can see my little anchor point still there. Clicking back on the pen tool, I can just take off from where I left off. Now, got the little zoom, the little anchor there. Click again, got another one. Click again. You can sort of see straight lines to start with. If you click and hold, it gives you the option to draw this little thing out here to do curves. Now we're not really needing to do that at this point because, well, we can use that later on, but we're not looking for absolute precision. Because if you notice that the old Richard Hamilton works, I mean, they were cut out of paper. So we're trying to give it a little bit of that vibe as well. So it doesn't need to be precise. So you just need to just click it once to go anchor point by anchor point. Now, when you're zoomed in like this and you want to move the page up and down, best way to do it is hit spacebar and you get a little hand, and then you click and drag to move stuff around, and then back it goes instantly back to whatever tool you're using. Alright, very handy tool. So another anchor point, and then I want to connect them all up. There you go. And I've got a little area that's called a pathway. So it goes anchor point to anchor point. There's a line between it, and that's creating a path. Now, a path on its own is pretty useless. You need to do something with that path. Now, what I want to do is I want to select the area that I've just created a path around. So to do that, right click inside the path, click Make Selection, and click OK, and you'll get what I like to call the little marching ants, little broken line that's moving all the way around it. That means you've selected that section. Whatever you do will only occur within that section. Okay, so now what I want to do with that is I want to get rid of it, because I want to have something else in the background outside. So what I'll do is I'll hit delete key, bang, gone. That little checkered pattern just means empty space underneath it. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now, if you want to get rid of the marching lines, I tend to do this. I just click on the marquee and click somewhere else just once. If you click and drag it, you'll get it more marching lines. But if you just click once, it gets rid of it. Other people click on the path selection tool and other things. It really is up to you, but that's the easiest way to do it. So yeah, that's how you select and get rid of an area. Now, we're only just working on one layer currently. Zoom it back out and you can sort of see, looks a bit funny. Now, I wanted to manipulate all of this sort of stuff. Now, to do that, if I wanted to have something out in the background of it, that I can see through that window, what I'd need to do is I'd need to get another image. So I'll go back to my little folder of stored images, and I've got, alright, Legend of Zelda. Remember, we're looking at pop art here, popular culture. So how you interpret this is really up to your understanding of what is the popular culture in your world. For me, I'm a big video games kind of person, and I kind of love that aspect of life and popular culture. So I've got a few video game references in this. So open with, you can either open with when you right click it, or you can just, it depends on your defaults on your computer, but my defaults are set to Photoshop. So that's opened it up in another tab. So you got the original tab there, and then you got the tab here. Now I want to make that go into the other tab. So how I do that is I now use the marquee tool, which is shortcut M. Now this is just for really quick, if you want a square area or a circular area. Circular could be click and hold and you can get the elliptical, single row, single column. But for this, just the regular marquee tool. See, marching ants around it, done and done. I can then go image, edit, no, not image, edit, cut. It's just like using Word or whatever. Edit. And I've clicked across now, so that's the old Zelda landscape. Now moving across to the work that I'm on. And now I'll go edit, paste. Now, that's pasted it over the top of it. We don't want it over the top, we want it underneath, and we want it a little bit bigger and better. So, first of all, let's make it a bit bigger and better. We want this covering the whole thing, so whenever I cut out a section, you can see through and see this layer under it. So to move it around, so you got your move tool, which is V, the shortcut. Now I've clicked on that, and that's just given me the box. Gives me the option to make it bigger or smaller. Gives me the option to just move it around. If you notice, you got the little bounding box anchor points there. We can distort that, but I'll show you that in a minute. To make sure that you are being able to do that, you want to make sure that you have, see up in the top here, show transform controls, you want that clicked. If it's not clicked, it just gives you the option to move it around, and that's it. Got that clicked, it gives you the bounding box. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it bigger, much bigger. I want it, yeah, probably about, yeah, that big. That'll do. It's not as big as it, could be, but it's big enough for what I need. Now, I want to make this go under rather than be on the top, and that's where your layers palette comes into it. Notice I've got the little eyes there, so if I click on the eye, you can see through it, and so on and so forth. That just makes it visible. Now if you click and drag that layer down under it, that now puts the layer out, so underneath that first layer. So if we say, you can even rename these layers, because you'll wind up getting a whole bunch of layers in the end. So if you wanted to rename or name each layer, I double clicked on that on the layer palette, and I'll just say, I don't know, room layer, room base. So that's the base layer. Double click on that, Zelda. So you can see, rather than the normal landscape there, we got the Zelda landscape coming through the windows. And if you click, so you can sort of click the visibility on, off, on, off. So you'd want to cut out different sections. That's cool. Pen tool's the best one for that. But if you want to cut around something, it's a bit of a different beast altogether. Show you what I mean. Let's do, yeah, why not? Coffee table in the shape of a yin yang, no less. So at the moment, it's just a plain coffee table, white background. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can unlock it again. You can then go magic wand. So you click, it will start. Default, it will be this. So you click, hold left mouse button, go down to magic wand tool, and the shortcut for that is, I think, W. I could be wrong. Yes, it is. So if you click on an area, it just automatically chooses a space, and then you can hit delete and bang, it's gone. For something like this, very easy. Cool beans. So that way you've got just the table and nothing else. Click on marquee again. So you can then click, select, edit, cut, back to my image across the tabs, edit, paste. Now that's massive. Don't need it that big. Go to the move tool again. Let's make it much littler. Much littler. And no, it's too little. And you can move it around, and we want it up over the room base layer. And double click on that and say yin yang. So that's that. Now if you wanted to stretch it around and stuff, that's also doable. I'll show you what I mean. Now if I wanted to put a rug underneath this, I'm going to be fancy pants and make a rug out of writing here. Let's get rid of that. Remember, when you get rid of those, don't save it, because otherwise it'll just save over the top of your original image, an empty image. So, but you do want to save this one, because this is your main work, and you save it as something, but we'll get to that in a minute. So back to the rug. So rug, I'm going to make out of this. So it's just a bit of text. So popular culture, the notion of coding, uh, the notion of online writing and blah blah blah. It's all there. It's part of the world around us. It's part of the fabric of the world around us. Again, clicking the marquee tool, selecting that area, image, edit, cut, flip the tab, edit, paste, and there we've got this. At the moment, I want to move it around again with the move tool. It's just sitting there. It's not looking like anything, just a bit of text. So you notice, again, we can name that. I'm going to call this a rug because I'm going to make it a rug. Show you how I'm going to do that. So you've got the yin yang coffee table. Move this aside for now. Click on the rug again. I'm going to make this a rug. Show transform tool. And damn it. So remember how to do this. Hmm. Ah, here we go. So I've clicked on it. I think you need to click on, see how it transforms across like that? Yeah. What you want to do is you want to free transform it. So that allows you, no, not free transform. You want to distort. So, putting back all those layers in place, I'm going to make this, put it down here. See how you hover it over, the mouse over it, and it goes in with a little turn like that. Okay. Okay, distort. Now I can move each anchor point individually to make it look like it's part of the space. And that's good enough. So I now want to move this coffee table back in, but you notice again you can flip it around, yin yang over the top, and I'll make it a little bit smaller. So there you have a coffee table and a digital rug. Yeah, fancy. So that's how you can do things. You can skew the proportions of something by making right-clicking on that little anchor point and hitting distort. And distort gives you, ways and means around it to make it look like it's actually in the space, following the perspective. That's assuming your image has perspective, and I should think it would, because it's a real space that you're manipulating. Right, so after a while, again, not saving that, I've been working on one of my own ones. I've been sort of adding bits and pieces as I go. It's good to have a figure in this. So this is mine so far. And you can see down here, I haven't bothered naming the layers on this version of it. It's got the background in there. It's all the way through. Cut out all the windows. You know, like really sort of tried to make it look like the space. Added a Twitter logo in there. Got a bit of KFC, television, guy on VR linked up to it. I mean, I could do other things like adding more of a coffee table, putting the coffee table back in there, putting stairs in there, putting static in there, or other textures. You can really mess it around and make it look interesting. It's kind of up to you what you do. Oh, that's right. The one last thing. How do I get that figure? Because cutting a figure out is a little bit more complex, and you wouldn't be able to just use the one tool. This is where, when you're getting a little bit more precise, you want to be able to use pen tool. Okay, again. So this is the original image that I took this guy off. So again, click on that. Maybe zoom in a bit so I can see where I'm going. Right. So I want to cut around this rather complex shape. So he's a complex shape with a whole bunch of other complex shapes around it. The reason why Magic Wand tool wouldn't work, because it would be picking up all this other stuff around it, and I mean, it sort of does work a bit, but it picks up, you know, color variations and all the rest of it, which can be a bit frustrating. Actually, it works pretty well, but you can see you kind of have to go bit by bit, and then it picks up other bits. If you delete that, it looks silly. So yeah, it's a lot more fiddly than it needs to be in that sense. So if I wanted to use the pen tool to do it, again, I'd just anchor point it around and make selection. So, you know, anchor point, just clicking fairly quickly along where I need to be. I'm not bothering to add curves or anything else like that. Here we go. Don't worry about the wire. Again, spacebar for the little hand, and round and round we go. I'm doing this at light speed. Obviously, you'd be taking a lot more time and trying to make it, you know, a little bit more clean than what I'm doing it, but you can sort of see how this works. It's a good tool, and it's the one that all the pros tend to use the most for Photoshop is pen tool. I mean, it is like the mainstay tool for Photoshop. Very handy. Anchor point, anchor point, anchor point. That's a little bit gimpy. Putting lots of anchor points in here. You can always go back and change those anchor points manually, but I really don't recommend you do that because, yeah, it's just a bit painful for where you're at the moment. It's very easy for things to get very tangled up. Going round, going round. And right, so full area again. Right click in the middle, make selection, get my little marching ants, go edit, cut, go back to the one we were working on before, edit, and paste. And you got your little man in there. So where you want to put him is up to you, depending on what you want to do. Again, you can move him around, make him small. It depends where you want him in the space. So if you want him right back in the distance there, you'd have him like that. If you want him in the foreground here, obviously you're going to make him a lot bigger and have him standing here. Now, his feet aren't quite matching. Again, this is where you can do the distort. So right click, distort, move him around a little bit, you know, make it look so his feet are sort of in perspective a bit. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'm not looking for perfection. This is just a task for you to get your head around some functions of Photoshop and to have a bit of fun. You know, what you put into this is up to you. How you do the space. You know, the main thing is not get frustrated with yourself, but just, you know, give it a go. Don't be scared to stuff up. You can always press Control Z, and that's it. You move backwards. You can always undo whatever you do. Okay. Once you've got something that you like this, I'll go File, Save As. Actually, no. Before you do that, I've still got all the layers open. If I'm certain that this is how I want it to be, and I'm certain this is the artwork as I want it to be, I'd go to File, Layer, and then I'd say, oh, hang on, I've still got all that selected. Layer, and it will say Merge Visible. That will merge everything that's got a little eye open on it, or you can merge down, which will just merge the layer that you're on to the one underneath it, or you can flatten and that just squishes it all together, but I just prefer to go Merge Visible. So I now have just one layer. I go File, Save As. Where are you? There you are. Now you don't want to save as what it was before, because otherwise it will just be over the top of the file. I'm going to say Hamilton Demo 2. Now it says save as type PSD. Now you don't want to save it as a Photoshop file unless you're saving a file with all your layers open, which is good if you want to work on it a bit and then come back to it, which I'm sure you all will. When it's your final and it's done and you've sealed all your layers, then you can go Photoshop, click on that, and it will give you a whole range of options. Best ones, just go JPEG, save, and yep, that should be fine. You can always make it a little bit more smaller, lower quality, medium quality. Save. That will give you a smaller file. So I've saved that in here somewhere. Hamilton Demo 2. So there it is. And it's tiny. It's 97 kilobytes. And there it is. No probs at all. So as I said before, that's the one I was working on last night. All the layers are open. It's good to save as you go along, open layered. Until you're absolutely certain that you want it as you want it and you have it as you want it, then you save it as a JPEG. But otherwise, just save it as a PSD with your file layers open. Cool. So thus ends the lesson. Hope this made sense. Yeah. And if you've got any questions, email me, contact me on Teams. And if you have any technical problems with your laptop, get onto IT right away at IT Help Desk. They will be happy to assist you as best they can. So, stay safe, Year 9s, and look forward to the next one.